Why is the world so obsessed with the leaks and fake news? Have you ever wondered why some news feels exaggerated? Or why certain leaks seem to take center stage while others fade into the background? In an era dominated by constant media coverage, the lines between truth and fiction often blur, leaving many to question the integrity of both leaks and news reporting. This became especially clear during heated exchanges, where the role of the media and how information is portrayed had serious implications for both political figures and public perception. A key moment that exemplifies these dynamics occurred during a tense conversation about the mineral-rich areas of eastern Ukraine. The discussion veered from foreign conflicts to much more domestic matters, touching on international relations and even testing facts. It began with a question on whether President Putin should be directed to withdraw forces from areas rich in minerals that were now under Russian occupation, with the underlying assumption that U.S. interests might be at stake. The response from the official was far from definitive, indicating that the decision was a matter that would be evaluated later, depending on the situation. However, the conversation quickly spiraled into a broader discussion, touching on the complexity of military involvement and the protection of resources. The question then arose about who would be responsible for safeguarding these mineral-rich territories. Should there be a U.S. interest? The answer was vague, acknowledging that it might be Ukrainian forces, European forces, or a combination through U.S. agreements. But when the issue of Russian aggression was raised, the response was dismissive, a suggestion that such an occurrence wasn't likely, and if it were, no deal would be made under such circumstances. This leads to a natural question: why the strong confidence that Putin would comply? The individual responded with a degree of derision, suggesting that the public's concerns were unwarranted and questioning the credibility of those questioning them. It was a clear indication of the often contentious relationship between politics and media. This ongoing debate about leaks, military decisions, and national interests was only further complicated by a direct attack on CNN, a network often in the spotlight for its coverage. In a notable moment, the discussion shifted to a very different topic: the U.S. response to the COVID-19 pandemic. During the debate on the testing rates between South Korea and the U.S., a clash of statistics erupted. South Korea had been praised for its rigorous testing, but the president strongly contested the figures presented, dismissing them outright as false. He also pointed to the U.S.'s response as superior, highlighting that various states had conducted extensive testing, particularly in areas where outbreaks had been most significant. Yet, as the conversation unfolded, the president's frustration with how media outlets were reporting these numbers became evident. He accused the media of distorting facts, suggesting that the real story on a successful pandemic management wasn't being accurately represented. This reaction, in turn, raised questions about what it means when public figures, especially those in power, dismiss media reports they deem unfavorable. The exchange touched on how narratives can be shaped either by media outlets or by those in positions to control the flow of information. When asked about his stance on the leaks surrounding Hillary Clinton's campaign, a similar pattern emerged. The president's response was direct and sharp. He acknowledged the legitimacy of the leaks, which had revealed the Democratic National Committee's DNC internal workings and some controversial aspects of Clinton's campaign. However, he differentiated between these leaks and the release of classified information, emphasizing that while he believed the leaks had merit, they were not akin to endangering national security. It's in this space that the true tension between different media factions became clear. A president who openly declared his preference for some outlets while criticizing others for their bias. For example, Fox News was described as more honorable, with its hosts being fair but firm in their coverage. This praise, however, stood in stark contrast to his criticism of CNN, where he claimed that the network's coverage often leaned into hatred and was riddled with negativity toward him. He referenced the tone of reporting, noting that it was consistently adversarial and even venomous. The issue wasn't just the facts, but the way they were presented. But what does this say about the larger media landscape in the digital age, where media consumption is at its peak? The tone and manner in which news is delivered have become just as critical as the content itself. The public is bombarded with a range of voices, all asserting different versions of truth. The president's comments about how people at his rallies react to CNN expressing disdain illustrate just how polarizing news coverage can be. As the conversation moved on, the issue of accountability came up. In discussing the coverage of The 2016 presidential campaign and the leaks about the DNC. The president highlighted how the media treated the leaks with a sense of dramatic flair. Yet, he believed that if similar leaks had happened involving his campaign, they would have garnered far more intense scrutiny. He pointed out that the questions about Hillary Clinton's debate prep, questions that were allegedly leaked before a town hall, were significant, and yet they did not receive the kind of attention he felt they deserved. This leads to a deeper reflection on how the media handles leaks. Why do some leaks like the ones related to Clinton's campaign become sensationalized, while others, which might be equally as revealing, are ignored? And why is it that some leaks, depending on their nature, get categorized as either beneficial or harmful to certain political figures? Amid all of this, the president's frustration with the media's portrayal of him became more palpable. He pointed out that outlets like CNN seemed to maintain a consistent anti-Trump stance, while others, like Fox News, were more balanced, even when offering criticism. This criticism extended beyond just the content. It was about the very nature of the media's tone. The president argued that the media's approach led to unnecessary division, particularly when those in the public eye were subjected to constant negativity. He concluded by acknowledging the role of the media in shaping public opinion, yet also called for more honesty and fairness in their coverage. The media, in his view, should focus more on presenting the truth and less on creating a narrative fueled by hate or division. He even suggested that certain outlets might improve their reputation by changing their tone, asserting that a more balanced approach would likely garner greater respect and viewership. In this complex dance between truth, media, and politics, one thing is clear: the media's portrayal of events, figures, and leaks can dramatically influence public opinion. Whether it's a question of war, the handling of a global pandemic, or the handling of sensitive campaign information, the way news is presented and the tone in which it is delivered matters just as much as the facts themselves. The question remains, can the media and political figures find common ground in presenting the truth, or will the divide between them only grow wider?